Will Shedeur Sanders silence the doubters and take over the QB spot, or will the critics be right? The next chapter starts now.
I ain't seen that Tom Brady came out on Colin Cowherd. Now this is pertaining to the Browns saying they developing quarterbacks. And I done told y'all, is either the Browns are actually developing Shedeur, which I told y'all before too. They actions say otherwise. But Tom Brady gonna break it down in how he got developed early on in his career.
Yeah, Tom Brady, he's all-time great. Being able to have that resource, being able to have that person I'm able to talk to and call whenever I'm having questions about the game, and he's able to relate to it because he did it at the highest level is truly amazing. I'm thankful for that.
What's the origin of the relationship with Tom?
Say it again?
What's the origin of the relationship with Tom? It comes like your dad or something?
Well, far back, I'll say a couple years ago, he extended his hand. He was like, come work out.
Shedeur Sanders, why did he go so late in the draft?
It's a good question. I wasn't a part of any evaluation process or to
Skip Bayless
see
says
that.
otherwise.
That's the problem with media is everyone can just say whatever the fuck they want. I actually texted Shedeur because I know him very well. And I said, dude, whatever happens, wherever you go, that's your first day. Day 2 matters more than the draft. I was 199. Who could speak on it better than me? Like what that really means. Use it as motivation. You're going to get your chances. Go take advantage of it.
Bro, I need you to stop everything you are doing right now because Tom Brady, 7-time Super Bowl champion Tom Brady, just sat down on live national television and told the world that what happened in Shedeur Sanders' preseason fight was something completely different from what actually went down. He looked dead into that camera with all the confidence of a man who's never lost anything in his life and dropped what people are now calling the most disturbing set of lies ever told about a young quarterback on a major broadcast platform. And the internet didn't just react, it erupted. Because here's the thing, people who were actually there, people who saw what really happened in that preseason fight with their own eyes, started coming forward immediately. And what they're saying directly contradicts everything Brady put on that screen. So now, you've got the greatest quarterback of all time on one side and the truth on the other. And once you hear both sides of this story in full, you're going to have very serious questions about why Tom Brady felt the need to go this far against Shedeur Sanders specifically.
We heard about all the controversy surrounding the New York Giants interview, what happened prior to the draft, the install with the deliberate errors in the playbook to see if he could point them out. Obviously, Shedeur didn't appreciate that. It was a back and forth. And you have to remember the Giants was the team that was represented the most at the games in Boulder, Colorado throughout the year. So Shedeur thought that the organization and himself had a good relationship and all that going forward. Now,
all right, let's set this whole scene up properly because context is absolutely everything here, and I refuse to let you watch this video without understanding every single layer of what went down. It's preseason. The stakes are technically low. At least that's what people on the outside say. But for Shedeur Sanders, nothing is low stakes. This is a kid who has been fighting for respect since before he put on a professional uniform. Every practice rep, every preseason snap, every interaction with teammates and coaches, Shedeur understands that people are watching, that narratives are being built, that the story of who he is as a professional quarterback is being written right now in real time. So when a physical altercation broke out during that preseason week, and yes, it was physical, yes, it was heated, yes, cameras caught pieces of it, the football world immediately wanted answers. What happened? Who started it? What does it mean for the locker room? What does it mean for Shedeur's relationship with his teammates and coaching staff? Those are fair questions, legitimate football questions, and there were people qualified to answer them with actual first-hand knowledge. Tom Brady apparently decided he was one of those people. Brady gets on live television, full broadcast, massive audience, the kind of platform that shapes public opinion overnight, and starts painting a picture of what happened in that preseason altercation that had people who were actually in that building absolutely floored. He talked about Shedeur's attitude. He questioned Shedeur's ability to handle adversity without letting it boil over. He implied that the fight was a symptom of a deeper character issue, that Shedeur Sanders doesn't have the temperament to lead a professional locker room under pressure.
I actually texted Shedeur because I know him very well. And I said, dude, like whatever happens, wherever you go, that's your first day. Day 2 matters more than the draft. I was 199.
Yeah.
Who could speak on it better than me? Like what that really means. Use it as motivation. You're going to get your chances. Go take advantage of it. So it's about your performance. Like, what do you do when you get there? I was around some of the best players were undrafted free agents. Rodney Harrison, like Julian Edelman wasn't a high pick. Wes Welker wasn't a high pick. Danny Amendola, all those guys were phenomenal players. So what's it matter like other than some overhyped day?
Yeah. You think I'm worried about what critics say or what people got to say? You know who my dad is? They hated on him too. So it's like it's almost normal. Without people hating, it's not normal for us. So we like the adversity. We like everything that comes with the name. That's why we are who we are.
Have you met by a ton of former NFL players and coaches in Colorado? Just talking about how their experiences kind of helped you move along and get ready for the next level as well as.
He said all of that on live TV with zero hesitation. And the room that was watching, players, coaches, analysts who actually know Shedeur, felt their jaws hit the floor. Because here's what Brady conveniently left out of his entire on-air monologue: the full story, the real story. Let's talk about what people who were actually present for that preseason altercation are saying happened, because this is where Brady's live TV narrative completely falls apart under even the most basic scrutiny. The fight, and let's be real, physical confrontations happen in NFL training camps and preseason environments constantly. This is not unusual. This is football. Was not started by Shedeur Sanders. Multiple sources close to the situation made that clear immediately after Brady's broadcast started making waves. Shedeur was provoked repeatedly by a veteran presence in that locker room who had been testing the young quarterback's patience for days leading up to the moment things finally boiled over. Now think about that framing for a second. A young quarterback, new to the professional game, trying to establish himself, trying to earn respect in a room full of veterans who've been in the league for years, gets pushed and pushed and pushed until he finally responds. And when he responds, Tom Brady gets on national television and calls it a character issue. That's not analysis, that's a takedown. And here's what makes it genuinely disturbing, because I want to use that word very deliberately and very specifically. Brady knows how preseason environments work. He lived in them for 23 years. He knows that physical altercations during the intensity of training camp and preseason preparation are part of the fabric of professional football. He knows that competitive fire, the kind that occasionally spills over into confrontation, is often the same fire that makes quarterbacks great under pressure in January.
Tell him what he need to look for. Tell him you need to look like this, that. If they line up like this, we running this. You wonder why you picking top 3 every year.
They can back the coverage off and I'll have a short throw underneath. Oh, great. I love that. Let's do that. Nobody's getting that type of development. So I learned from an offensive standpoint watching Drew and having very good offensive coaches.
Brady himself was not exactly a choir boy in every locker room situation throughout his career. There are stories, there are moments, there are teammates who will tell you privately that Brady's competitive intensity crossed lines on multiple occasions, and nobody called it a character deficiency. They called it greatness. But when Shedeur Sanders responds to being provoked in a preseason environment, Brady goes on live television and calls it disturbing. Brady frames it as evidence that Shedeur isn't built for this level. The double standard is not subtle, and people noticed immediately. But wait, because here's the part of this story that really made everything explode on social media within hours of Brady's broadcast. His own co-host, the person sitting right next to him at that desk on that same live platform, was visibly, uncomfortably trying to walk back what Brady was saying in real time. Watch that clip closely. Watch the body language. Watch the attempted redirects. Watch the carefully worded, well, I think what Tom means is moments that kept happening every time Brady doubled down. That's not normal broadcast disagreement. That's a colleague recognizing that the narrative being pushed on live television is going somewhere that the facts simply do not support, and trying to pump the brakes before the backlash arrived. The backlash arrived anyway, faster than anyone anticipated. Players from around the league started speaking up. Former teammates of Shedeur's from his college days were posting. Analysts who had actually been in that preseason building were going on their own platforms and directly contradicting Brady's version of events, point by point. The momentum shifted fast, because when you go on live television and misrepresent what happened to a young quarterback in front of millions of people, the truth has a way of showing up whether you invited it or not.
Tom Brady is a minority owner in the Raiders. I don't care if he went in there and told them not to draft Shedeur. I don't care if he went in there and told them to draft Shedeur. Whose decision is it? The owners. Quit giving these Pat Shermer, Tom Brady, Andrew Beck, quit giving these people power they don't have. These are billionaire owners. They make the final decision. I don't care what nobody say, bro.
And then came the detail that made everything worse for Brady's credibility. The veteran player whose sources say provoked the altercation in the first place, quietly handled by the coaching staff. No public statements, no broadcast segments dedicated to analyzing his temperament or questioning his fitness for professional football. Nothing. Just a quiet internal resolution, while Shedeur Sanders got Tom Brady on national television calling his character into question. That asymmetry is what has people genuinely angry. Not just Shedeur's fan base, football people. People who understand locker room dynamics. People who know what it takes to survive and thrive as a young quarterback in a veteran-heavy environment. Those people watched Brady's segment and felt something that went beyond simple disagreement with an analyst's take. They felt like they were watching something unfair happen to a kid who has already had more unfair things happen to him in 2 years of professional attention than most players deal with in an entire career. Here's the thing about Shedeur Sanders that Tom Brady's narrative refuses to acknowledge. This young man has been tested at every level. The scrutiny of being Deion Sanders' son, the pressure of rebuilding Colorado's football program on national television, the draft process humiliation, the questions about his arm, his size, his attitude, his readiness, the contract negotiations, the roster situation, the quarterback competition. At every single stop, every one, Shedeur has absorbed the pressure, stood back up, and found a way to make the moment work in his favor. That's not fragility. That's the opposite of fragility. That's the kind of competitive resilience that Brady himself built his entire legendary career on. And now Brady wants to take a preseason altercation, one that Shedeur didn't even initiate, and use it to rewrite the character narrative of a young quarterback who has earned nothing but respect for how he's handled everything thrown at him. The football world isn't buying it. And honestly, based on everything we know about what actually happened, they shouldn't.
Shedeur Sanders responded to being provoked like a competitor responds to being provoked. He didn't back down. He didn't fold. He didn't go hide in a corner and take it. He stood his ground in a preseason environment with teammates watching in a moment that will define how veterans in that locker room view him for the rest of the season. You know what veterans respect more than anything in a young quarterback? The ones who don't let themselves get punked. The ones who show up every day and compete with everything they have and refuse to be minimized. The ones who, when pushed, push back. Tom Brady, of all people, should understand that, because that's exactly how Brady operated for 2 decades. The difference is, when Brady did it, they called it the GOAT mentality. When Shedeur does it, Brady goes on live TV and calls it a character issue. Somebody needs to explain that math, because it's not adding up.
So here's where I'm leaving this, and I want genuine answers in those comments, because this debate deserves real conversation. Do you think Tom Brady genuinely believes what he said about Shedeur's preseason altercation, or is something else driving this narrative? Because there are two possibilities here. Either Brady is genuinely wrong about what happened and went on live television without doing his homework, which would be a massive credibility problem for someone in his position. Or Brady knows exactly what he's doing, knows exactly what narrative he's building, and made a very deliberate choice to use his platform to shape how the football world sees Shedeur Sanders. Both options are disturbing. Both options deserve scrutiny, and Shedeur Sanders deserves the truth to be told loudly enough that Brady's version gets drowned out completely. Drop your take in the comments. Is Brady wrong or is he lying? Because there's a difference, and that difference matters a lot. Shedeur Sanders walked into a preseason environment, got provoked, stood his ground like a competitor, and ended up with Tom Brady misrepresenting the entire situation on live national television. That's the story. And the fact that Shedeur didn't crumble under that pressure, didn't go on social media melting down, didn't let it derail his preparation, tells you everything about who this young man actually is. The truth always comes out eventually, and it's coming out now. If you want every update as this story develops, every response, every reaction, every piece of the puzzle the mainstream media tries to hide, hit that subscribe button right now. We don't miss, we don't fold, and we always ride with the truth. Let's go.